it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car, because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car, because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SAFC Live. Myself and Danny are pitch side once again here at the Stadium of Light. Can Sunderland make it 3 out of 3 in the league? We will find out very soon. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff, of course, here at the stadium on a warm August afternoon. Danny, the surface behind us is immaculate as it has been for the start of the season. Are you looking forward to today's game? Of course, we're playing the team which you are level on points with at the top of the table, but the team with the most goals scored.
Flying, aren't they? Yeah, had a good start, 9 goals, just the one conceded at Luton, first game of the season. But, you know, look where we were this time last week, albeit, yes, it was on the Sunday. Lovely days, you said, back at the Stadium of Light, and the lads backed it up with a fantastic performance, and 4 goals, back-to-back clean sheets. We're sat in a great position, still 44 games to go, but it's going to be a big test this afternoon.
Let's see the scenes behind us, if you can, just between me and Danny there. The lads have just ran out for their pre-game warm-ups. That's all in their new Hummel gear, of course. Let's give you the team news ahead of today's kickoff. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff here at the Stadium of Light. People watching around the world, of course, on SAFC Live. This is your starting 11 and bench as well. We'll get that up as soon as we can for you. Here it is. It's coming. So that's your Sunderland team news there. Danny, take us through the changes. And there's a couple of new names on the bench as well. Yeah, and Dan Ballo back amongst the substitutions as well. But it's that left-hand side, isn't it, where we're looking. Familiar name of Jack Clark isn't out there this afternoon. And it's a big opportunity for Romain Mundle, who steps in. I think you're looking at Romain, I think pre-season, had a good run out. I think it was at Bradford, wasn't it? Got himself a goal. And now it's an opportunity for him moving forward. Can he nail down that position on that left-hand side? I think similar type of player in terms of wants to play on the left-hand side. It's quite direct when he picks up the ball. Wants to go past defenders. Wants to cut inside on his favoured right foot. So it's an opportunity for him. Yeah, and it's probably a position where we can speak around, if you like, with the availability of the other players in and around the squad as well. Although we haven't seen Roosum play out there, he's capable of playing in that position. You've also on the bench today for the first time got Jan Preveda, very exciting player who we brought in over the summer, and young Tom Watson as well. Has been he's placed on the bench. And everyone's excited about Tom Watson. Yeah, no, he obviously got a goal in pre-season, didn't he? I think it was out in Spain. Yeah. Was it Eldense he scored against, or Forest? Can't remember now off the top of my head, but he got a goal. Haven't seen too much of him after that, really. But yeah, similar to Romain, similar to Jack in terms of likes to play on the left-hand side, all right foot, wants to cut inside, wants to get at defenders. So he will perhaps look at it as well now, and albeit he knows Romain's out there, and if Jack's obviously not here, then it's going to be an opportunity for him. You know, the door's going to open for him. If he's putting in performances in on the training pitch for the under-21s, then he's going to get opportunities. Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing the guys there going through their warm-ups there, Danny. They've had a full week, well, pretty much a full week, haven't they? No midweek game this week. Last time out here, of course, against Sheffield Wednesday. In fact, let's run through the highlights from the last game as well, because some of them were pretty emphatic last time out here against Sheffield Wednesday. Loads of good goals, of course. Yeah. And a team in Sheffield Wednesday where we were expecting a lot more from, weren't we, pre-game? Well, we were, yeah, because they had that 4-0 win themselves, didn't they, in the opening day against Plymouth back on the home patch at Hillsborough. And I thought they actually started okay first couple of minutes down this left-hand side. But then after that, it was all about ourselves, wasn't it? We got on the front foot, set up really well out of possession, set little traps, forced Sheffield Wednesday into little pockets of space where they couldn't get out of. And we capitalised, and albeit, yes, set pieces as well. You know, we've said how vital set pieces are throughout the season, you know, how they can win you points. Their setup was just horrific. To see it there now, I thought, looking at it straight away, I thought they were overloaded near post there. You look around the back there, there's 3 or 4 red and white striped shirts. They haven't got a man deep enough in that area. And it just, you know, people have talked about it being, you know, straight off the training ground. Well, for me, that could be instinct as well. Patrick can see that, Dennis can see it, and it's just crying out for a little ball to be stood up to the far post area. Lovely little clip ball from Patrick. Dennis is free, just punches it, doesn't he? Still a bit of zip on the surface after the sprinklers have been on, and the keeper's beaten, set us on our way, and we didn't look back after that. And of course, it was the first time that Regis Lebris as well has experienced that home crowd atmosphere as well for the first time, and the fans really showed their appreciation for the style of which Sunderland played. It was that pressing off the ball in particular I was particularly impressed with there, Danny.
Well, it was that as well, and this clip sums it up for me as well. A lot of loose ball, and when the loose ball was bouncing around, it always seemed to be a red and white striped shirt picking it up, getting on the end of it. Thought Job was excellent energy, Chrissy Rigg coming into the side, fantastic, and then obviously you got Dan Neal in behind there. So we've obviously got bags of experience in that midfield with the three of them with a combined sort of age of 19 average.
And this chap getting a couple of goals as well. That was the first of them. He takes the advantage of a mistake as well.
That's where you look at, setting traps and work off the training ground. Is the set up there. And Sheffield Wednesday obviously being programmed into trying to play out from the back. It's Windass that comes towards the ball, tries to be too clever, tries to flick it round the corner. Luke goes all the way, gets the little deflected sort of block on it, doesn't he? Straight into Meyenda's path. Centre-backs are split 40 odd yards apart, they can't get back in, and it's just out of his feet, and it's a lovely firm side foot finish, and that would be a massive relief for him, boosting confidence. He's had that opportunity down at Cardiff the week before, which he didn't take, but he took that one away. Great finish, and he'll be full of confidence stepping out here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just looking at back. So Barry Banner had a frustrating afternoon, didn't he?
Yeah, couldn't get involved in the game, couldn't dictate it, as we say there, with Barry Banner, and we spoke about him before the game in terms of wants to walk with straight things, but Chris Rigg, Job, as I mentioned there, too much energy in the middle of the park for him. He struggled to get involved in the game, and you could see he was frustrated, especially second half. He was dropping deeper, trying to get on the ball. But yeah, no, it was all about ourselves, as we say there. Once we got that first goal, the second and third followed shortly after. And it is that third one now as we're looking back at it. At the time, everybody, almost we looked at it, thought, oh, he's got to be offside. It happens quite quick, but it's a great call from the linesman, isn't it? Looking across it, and it's Windass again involved. At fault really for the second one. That one there, because he's not naturally a defender, he doesn't step up, doesn't get up with the rest of his side. And Luke times his run well, and he just gets there ahead of the keeper. And what's that? 2-2 for Luke 09. Fantastic goal scoring centre half. You've got Dennis chipping in as well at the back. Everything's rosy at the minute.
Yeah, and I've just heard that we're going to be joined by Sunderland's new loan signing as well after we've watched these highlights, Danny. Wilson Isidore is going to join us on the programme, so that's a treat for us all here on
getting all these
SLC.
new lads on early, aren't we?
Yeah, it's keeping us on our toes anyway, so we'll be bringing you that as soon as we've watched some more of these highlights. We're going to be bringing you that guest as they're waiting in the wings. We're just looking back through some more of these moments here. We've got Patrick Roberts, who had another good game. Yeah,
he's back at it, isn't he, Patrick? He had a dip last season, obviously injuries, out of the team as well, found it difficult, frustrating in terms of his return goals and assists, but this year he's been off to a fly. He's looked sharp in pre-season, and he looks like he's full of confidence again, and what we know Patrick Roberts is all about, get him on the ball. Up against Max Lowe there last week, he had a difficult afternoon. He wasn't sure whether to go tight, didn't know whether to show him down the line, show him inside. It was a difficult one for him. And Patrick was unfortunate, he had a couple of efforts, that one there onto the roof of the net, a couple in the second half as well. And then this one here, Chris Rigg, one it could have been 4 before the break. Fantastic save by the goalkeeper. Good right hand down to his right hand side there, good firm save. But didn't take long after the break, as I said there, they've gone in at half time, they would have had a few stern words amongst themselves. They brought, I think it was a big Smith came on at half time, but to no avail really. Started well, and it's Chris Rigg involved again, picks up the loose ball, lovely weighted pass into the path of Jack Clark. Jack just gets there, squares it, and that's where you want to see your centre forward, a proper striker's type of goal, isn't it? Getting on the end of it, tucks it away, 4-0, and that was pretty much that, game over. We're still 40 odd minutes to play after that, but 4-0 up, everybody was at it. Sometimes you maybe carry 1 or 2 players, but there wasn't one player that come off last Sunday who you thought he had below a 7 out of 10.
Anyway, we are joined pitch side by Sunderland's new loan signing, Wilson Isidore. Wilson, welcome to Sunderland AFC. Welcome to SAFC Live. We're broadcasting around the world to the Sunderland fans watching around the world. Welcome. How do you feel?
I feel so good. Thank you for the welcome. I feel so good to be there in this amazing club with the huge fan, and I'm so hurried to start this journey.
What do you think of the stadium? Obviously, you're looking forward to hearing how loud it can be a little bit later on as well, I bet.
No, the stadium is crazy, and the fans also are crazy. And yeah, as I said before, I just want to play, to show them what I can do, and yeah, it will be a good thing, I think.
Now, this gentleman, Danny Collins, was a former player of the season in consecutive seasons for Sunderland a little while ago now. But he can tell you a thing or two about the atmosphere in here. It's a special relationship the footballers have with the crowd here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I played here 5, nearly 6 seasons. But as you say, once you come out that tunnel for the kick-off, the noise in there, 40,000 Sunderland fans, fantastic. And obviously, as you see the game last week, I'm not sure whether you've seen, obviously you know about the result, 4-0. But getting this crowd on side early on, with get goals, energy in the performance, and the stadium comes to life, and it's fantastic to play. Looking at yourself, Wilson, what type of striker are you? Like to run in behind, hold up play, fox in the box? What type of striker?
No, I'm more a player who like to eat the space. You know, directly when I have some space, I will run in because I play with my quality. So I know I have to use it for help the team and also for put myself in better condition. I also love to dribbling. I also love to shoot from everywhere because I want to score, you know, and that's my main quality, to score goals before everything.
Left foot, right foot, head, everything. Penalties. I've seen your penalties. I've seen you online as well. Yeah, you like the penalties?
Yeah, but this we will talk with the teammate and with the coach. But I'm ready to take it. If we will speak with everybody. But yeah, I can score from everywhere, and I cannot wait to score my first goal.
Have you always been ambitious to play football in England?
Of course, it's the biggest team and the biggest the championship are here. So, of course, it was one of my objective, and now I make the first step. Then I hope to make the second step also with Sunderland, to go up, and it will be a good thing.
Yeah. And your fitness, I know that you can't play this afternoon because of work permits and international clearance, that kind of thing, but generally are you fit and ready to go?
Yeah, I played some games in the beginning of the season, and yeah, I'm ready to play, you know, and every player is ready to play. If you don't want to play, you cannot be a football player. So I want to play, I'm fit, I'm continuing to work on my physical condition, and I hope to be ready for the next game.
Fantastic. Danny, final question.
Yeah, good luck, mate. Wish you all the best. Look forward to you scoring many goals.
Enjoy your time at Sunderland Football Club. We'll see you soon.
Right,
Thank you
cheers,
very much.
Wilson. Thank you.
Wilson Isidore there speaking to us here on SAFC Live. He's going to get unveiled amongst the fans here. We're going to go to an ad break, and then we're going to come back and speak to Rob Mason, club historian, soon here on SAFC Live.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
Well, welcome back to SAFC Live. We are pitch side here at the Stadium Live. 3 p.m. kickoff. The PA system's getting cranked up around us, and rightfully so as well. A big crowd is expected, and we were expecting Rob Mason to join us, and he has joined us for what is Sunderland's 120th match against Burnley. A very old side as well, similar to last week, Sheffield Wednesday.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Yeah, a lot of history between Sunderland and Burnley. Right the way back to the club's first ever league game in 1890 when we played Burnley. Many great games, many great results. Some big wins, some sad defeats. Hopefully today's will be one of the really good ones because it's very early days, but to be the top two in the division this early, you know, things are set up for a fantastic afternoon, Frankie.
Yeah, things are really set up for a good game, hopefully. Both sides like to attack, both sides like to press as well, which we saw last week. What did you make of Regis Lebris's first home game?
Well, wasn't excellent overall over the 90 minutes. I think if you remember rightly, the first 7 or 8 minutes, Sheffield Wednesday were bright. They looked the better side.
Yeah,
they looked the better side early on. But once we got our noses in front, it was fantastic to build on it and build on it so well, build on it so quickly. And I thought we played a lot of really good football. Some of it was reminiscent of the excellent football we were playing a couple of seasons ago. And I thought the midfield trio, with being of such a young age in Job, Chrissy Rigg and Dan Neil as captain, I thought that as a midfield trio were absolutely superb. And but a step up in class for them today against the team just out of the Premier League. We'll see if they can do it again against the side of Burnley's calibre.
Yeah, some good experience in there, haven't they? As you say, Josh Brownhill's got himself a couple of goals already this season as well, so it's a good test for Job and Chrissy Rigg in there.
Absolutely,
again,
I'm sure all the young lads in the Sunderland team are really looking forward to it because they played so well against Sheffield Wednesday on the back of a strong result at Cardiff. But they know they're going to have to step up today to achieve as good a result against the side of this ability.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Bob. Well, actually, I want to bring you in, Danny, as well. In terms of Scott Parker, who's probably a player you came across many times in your career, maybe even crossed paths as well when you were at West Ham for a brief period of time as well. He seems to be getting a tune out of this Burnley side, but he's been forced to make a lot of changes this afternoon as well. Do you think that would be to Sunderland's advantage?
Possibly, yeah. I think they'll be well drilled and well-oiled machine, as they say, really. And I think obviously getting his methods across and how they work on the training ground. But yeah, it can upset them. As I say there, they've had a strong start to the season. Naturally, as a manager, they won't want to change too much of it. You know, if it isn't broken, don't have to fix it, type of thing. But you've got lads who can come in there. They've got quality and strength and depth. But it's going to be a good test for them. You know, we've talked about them themselves in terms of scored 9 goals, just conceded the one at Luton, first game of the season. But they'll have had a look at us last week against Sheffield Wednesday, see what we're all about. We're at home as well, with 40-odd thousand Sunderland fans getting behind us, and we're going to have our moments in the game as well, so it's going to be difficult for them as well at times.
And of course, Rob, as well, we had that game here last season where Sunderland were flying at half-time and everyone's saying, wow, this is an incredible performance. And then second half, Burnley really turned up, and then they kind of went on from that game and walked the league.
In that game, in Burnley's promotion season, you're quite right, we played very well at half-time, up to the end of the first half. And then the second half, I'm taking nothing away from Burnley. Burnley played very well and deserved to win, scored the 4 goals. But it was also one of those games where everything went for Burnley. Lads who had shots that, 9 times out of 10 would have flown over the bar, they all flew in. It was a bit like our game against Southampton last season when everything we hit went in. It happens, and it happened to happen for Burnley in that particular game. So as I say, I would take nothing away from them on that game or that season. They were outstanding. But it was also a day when everything fell their way in the second half. But we showed how well we could play against them in the first half, and hopefully we can play something like that against them again this afternoon.
I want you to have a bit of a wider discussion now, because Burnley went up and they were flying, weren't they, last season? They looked really good, and we saw them play that in that second half in that game, and we got a good draw down there as well against a good Burnley side as well last season. But I was listening to some of their fans' podcasts this week, and they said they were disappointed that they weren't able to compete in the Premier League, and it just shows that massive gap, doesn't it, between the Championship and the Premier League. A side which played such brilliant football in the Championship just weren't able to almost lay a glove, were they, in the Premiership?
No, it was difficult. And I think obviously you look at Vincent Kompany coming in and taking over, fantastic in the Championship, changed the style of play really. You know, you look at Burnley over the last 10 years plus prior to Vincent Kompany, Sean Dyche, typical 4-4-2, a bit more direct, ball up to the target men, playing the opposition's half. He changed all that, playing out from the back. A lot of teams generally want to play this day and age, and he tried to take that into the Premier League. But obviously you're coming up against a stronger calibre opposition, teams cotton onto him, you take more risks, and they got punished. But he didn't want to come away from that. That's all well and good, and obviously he's moved on to Bayern Munich, so they felt he was doing something right. Obviously he's going to go there and work again with a higher quality player.
Bayern Munich,
no, not really, but no, give him credit, he stuck to that. I think with Scott Parker, he's maybe a little bit more in between really. I think I looked at possession stats. I was surprised ourselves really, Rob. You know, you're a stat man. We're third lowest at this moment in time for possession, 43.5%. There's Derby and Preston lower than us at this moment in time in terms of having the ball. But it's obviously what you do with the ball, isn't it? And you look at Vincent Kompany when he had this Burnley team, they were probably having 55-60% every game, or more, albeit until they got to the Premier League. I think Scott Parker's come away from that a little bit more, and he's got players similar to ourselves on the turnovers, on counter-attacks, where you can hurt the opposition a little bit more. So at times you're almost, like we did prime example last week, allow Sheffield Wednesday to have the ball a little bit more, but when you win it, do things with a little bit of purpose, a little bit of pace, and try and catch them on the counter-attack.
Yeah, you're quite right. I totally agree with what Danny's just said in terms of analysing how Burnley played. They had their principles and their philosophy under Vincent Kompany, and no matter what was happening for them, they stuck to that, and ultimately it didn't work. There's an argument that says they should have been more adaptable, they should have gone a little bit more direct at times. Of the three teams that went up last year, the team that went up in the playoffs, of course, having beaten Sunderland in the semi-final, and then just edged Coventry on penalties in the final at Wembley, were Luton Town, and Luton put up the best fight. And they had some advantages, you know, their small, cramped stadium, I think, helped work to their advantage to some extent. But they did put up a right fight, and they looked like the side that was most likely to stop up. Burnley kept trying to play football and ultimately weren't good enough at that level. Plus, if my memory serves me correctly, they suffered from a number of real goalkeeping howlers by 2 or 3 goalkeepers, and we see there today they've got a goalkeeper and 2 goalkeepers on the bench. So, you know, they did struggle in terms of the goalkeeping times in the Premier League. Some costly errors at games that were finally balanced cost them key games, but overall they simply weren't good enough. Excellent in the Championship, but not able to adapt successfully in the Premier.
Yeah, you mentioned the goalkeeper. They've made a goalkeeper change this afternoon. James Trafford comes back in, who was probably at fault for some of those.
It was. And Muric, I think, took over for him towards the end of the season.
That's right.
He's moved on to Ipswich as well. I think he's gone to Ipswich,
So, yeah, I mean, what kind of game do you think we'll see this afternoon, Rob, finally?
Well, hopefully an attacking display, hopefully a one with a positive result for Sunderland. But like I said to you last week, and I'll say to you any week, I'm never really too bothered what the game's like. I'm bothered what the result's like. And if it's an entertaining game this afternoon and Sunderland lose 3-2, well, it'll be an entertaining game, but so what?
You have a stat if that was the result.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Which is the first game we played ever in the league was against Burnley, and we lost that 3-2. And then should we lose this afternoon, which I desperately hope we don't, but if we lose this afternoon in all competitions, it would be the 2,000th defeat in the club's history. And I have to say that includes games that would be lost on penalty shootouts, which technically count as draws. But believe me, when I came out of Wembley in 1998 after losing on penalties to Charlton Athletic in the playoff final, I didn't feel like we'd drawn. And after we'd beaten Newcastle on penalties in the League Cup in the late 70s at St James's Park, I didn't come out feeling like we hadn't won. Hopefully that start will not be needed for several weeks. But coming back to how I think today's game will go, if it's a dull game, if it's a scrappy game, if it's not much of an entertainment, if it's not much of a feast of football, but the final whistle, Sunderland have won, I for one will be absolutely cock-a-hoop. But even if it's a draw this afternoon, on the back of the 6 points out of 6, against the team just out of the Premier League. I think that will keep the momentum going and keep the bright start of the season going. He is hoping for 3 points though, Frankie.
Thank you very much, Rob, for your predictions, and we'll
Cheers,
see you
Rob.
soon.
Cheers,
Thanks
mate.
for joining us once again here on SFC Live. The playing staff and the players and the coaching staff are just going past us now, and they're going to go into the tunnel as they prepare for the game. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff here on SAFC Live. You can get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. We'll be back after the break.